I want to comment about the deployment of the Kenya police to Haiti. We have had two options. We have had them saying that each and every police station in Kenya will supply one police officer. We have also heard that the GSU will supply 40%. The RDU will supply 40% and the AS2 will supply 40%. So far, we know that the policemen are now in training, but we do not know which of the two formulas was used. When I heard that our police officers are going to Haiti, I said that we send there GSU 40%, RDU stroke BTU 40%, and us to 20%. The reason for me coming up with that, which it is one of the theories that is being spread, is that our police officers who are going there are mostly going to do paramilitary work. You do not expect the local traffic police officer to go there. You do not expect the local crime branch officer to go there, or even the DCI. The reason is because of language barrier and because investigations and cases take long. Those ones will be taken over by people who are closer to that country, and also it will need people going to court later days, and our police officers are going there to be there for a short time. So they are going to form a SWAT team. People are talking of Kenya police officers not going out. We already have. In 1988, Kenya police officers went to Namibia. I knew one of them, Elijah Ate Osangalo, and there was an inspector who was the OCS in the Kenya police in Namibia. He came back and he was fast-tracked to be gazetted as a superintendent. So these things have been happening. Police officers have been taken out. We have had police officers in Bosnia. I even remember recently, one of the OCSs in Mogadishu was a GSU chief inspector. You may find that your ordinary OCS cannot function properly in such a place. It is better to have a GSU officer who to be an OCS. The reason is a work there is more of a paramilitary than the work of an ordinary OCS who has been trained and is used to handling civilians. We have always had challenges when our police officers go into other countries. I have mentioned Bosnia. I have mentioned Somalia. Yes, Kenya we have Somalis, but you find that most of our askaris going to Mogadishu, there was already the skin color. In Haiti, we are going to have a challenge in language. These people look like us, these people behave like us, but our police officers, French is a problem. So the problem we are going to have is we are going to have a problem in language. We also have a problem with the 2010 Constitution. It is said that it is the most progressive constitution we have ever had, any country has ever had. But then again, were we ready for what we wrote? I say no. The reason being that we are having something that we call public participation. Our problem in the 2010 is anything you do, there is this thing they call public participation. Now, public participation takes a lot of time. It also takes out a lot of confidentiality, which security work is supposed to do. But then, we have to find a middle ground where we have to look into the security aspects which need confidentiality, and also we have to look into public participation. And this is what I suspect will happen. We have police officers undergoing training, ready to leave any time for Haiti. You'll find that these police officers will do a very good job. The next lot will be a very good job. The next 2 or 3 lots. Now the 4th lot is what we are going to have a problem like we had in Somalia in a place called El Hada. We are going to have a situation where these people, I'll talk about it later, but these people will come back with a lot of money. They'll come a lot with money, they'll really invest. And here is where the problem will come. We have sons and daughters of prominent people. By prominent, I mean prominent in the police service, prominent in military, and prominent in civil service and politics. Either their relatives will go and push for their sons and daughters to be included, or these people will just go there and say, Daddy or Uncle, I want to go to Haiti. My colleagues have come back with millions of shillings. So I also want to go there. And these are the people who will be taken there. When they are taken there, we are going to have problems. Like what we had in Halda with the army. These are people who are related to senior people. They do not take instructions from inspectors. And they will just, like El Hada, you find, you tell a person to go and guard the place, you say, sisi zote tulitrainiwa, kila mtu na bunduki yake, tukishambuliwa, jitetee. So these are people who will do what they want, and that is when you find that in El Hada, the camp was just literally attacked and people were killed like flies. I would also request that those to be taken there, unless somebody is in command, going to be an OCS or an OCPD, I would say that all those askaris, they should be people who are served in the police for a maximum of 5 years. I would even not mind somebody coming from college and working out for a year or 2, 2 or 3 years, and then being taken there. The issue of taking people who have worked for or are about to retire, it is better to have people who have worked for very little years. It's a long story because we need somebody who is sharp, somebody who is physically fit, somebody who gets command, but people who have worked for long, those things become hard. I said I'll talk about funding. Most likely, the funding will be by foreign authorities. But even if it is Kenyan authority, we may never know. We may even be told that it is being funded by foreign countries, and 10 to 20 years later, we find that it is our budget. So we will be wasting time trying to find out who funded the operation. I said Elijah Ateo Sangalo is my friend and was in Namibia, and this is how these people are paid. This police officer earns a salary in Kenya. He has a pay point. Like during Elijah Ateo Sangalo's time, the salary used to go to Turkana, where he used to work. But nowadays, all police officers get their salaries through the bank. So for the period that the officer will be in Haiti, the normal police salary will go straight to his bank account. he or she will have a second salary. This salary is at the rate of UN. For example, this askari is a constable. We have the UN rate for constables. So the second salary will be a UN salary, which is for a recruit who is fresh from college, he will get a salary more than even an OCS, his or her OCS. The salary will be in dollars. On top of salary, there is allowances, there is the insurance, there is whatever. So that if he's hurt or even dies, if he dies or hurt, the insurance cover will be double. The family in Kenya will be paid what the Kenyan insurance does, and the family and relatives will be paid the UN rates for anybody hurt or killed in an operation. You may have noticed that I'm talking about death casually. Yes, anybody going there and expecting to go there and come back safe and fine with a lot of money, he or she would rather not go. We have never had an operation in Kenya Police where we have not had casualties. We have had Matakwei and Sabaot. We have had Lotodo and Goroko. We have had Shifter. We have had Al-Shabaab. None of them, and I know of so many people apart from Matakwei's Sabaot land liberation. All others, I know a lot of colleagues, I know a lot of friends who have died because of Shifter. I know a lot of friends, I know a lot of colleagues who have died because of Al-Shabaab. I know a lot of colleagues, I know a lot of friends who have died because of Goroko. So going there, death is a part of it. It is an accepted thing. It's like going to play Premier League and you don't expect to be hurt. So these things happen, but then the elaborate, because we have had, I know of people, and I can mention not less than 40 of personal friends, kina Koigi, kina Charles Kimani, kina Nan, who died and just went like that. But in this case, these people will die in a similar way. Some will die in a similar way, and those who will die in a similar way, their families will be well compensated. Because these police officers have all been to Kiganjo and APTC. The second day you arrive at Kiganjo or APTC, or the first day you are in class, you are told that you are joining a profession that from the day you enter that service to the time when you leave that service, death is at your doorstep. I am trained in all aspects. I'm trained in Kiganjo, I'm trained in DCI training school, I'm trained in NIS training school. And if you look at me, imagine walking to town with all my training and you see a police officer who does not know that the person looking at him is a well-trained person and he's carrying a gun. I can snatch it, shoot him. So even the police officer in Nairobi is in great danger. Should he die, I'm trying to say that death is part of the job. So when they go there, the day they accepted to be police officer, they expected that dying while on duty is part of the job. So it is for you who is not trained in that I'm telling, not to sympathize with them that they'll die or anything. They die. The first police officer to die when I saw was, I had just completed a month after I left GSU training school, and a GSU from Rec Company died in a place called Kongelai. So this thing about death or anything, that is part of the job. It is even there with the matatu drivers. They are always on the road and they can always die. But should they be hurt or should they be killed? Are their insurance covered to do that? And my answer is yes. The insurance cover for them is at the highest of any security officer has ever had since 1920 when Kenya became Kenya.